Having been covertly in the works for many years by Chancellor Palpatine, Order 66 marked the Republic's darkest day and set the pieces of the Sith Grand Plan into motion for the ultimate takeover of Darth Sidious. Although the Great Jedi Purge wiped out pretty much every single Jedi from the galaxy, there were actually a few survivors who managed to make it past that tragic day and live in hiding throughout the darkest corners of the galaxy. So I'm going to break down every single known survivor of Order 66 and their dark stories. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button to join the Star Force and be notified about more incredible Star Wars lore content. Number 1. Grogu. Grogu is the Mandalorian Foundling who is currently under the protection of fellow Mandalorian Din Djarin and briefly trained under Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. During the tragedy of Order 66, Grogu was inside of the Jedi Temple and witnessed Anakin and the 501st slaughter the Jedi inside during Operation Knightfall. Mysteriously though, Grogu was stolen from the Jedi Temple during the chaos of the slaughter and managed to slip out of the raid in the hands of an unknown person. This could either be a Jedi like Jocastu Nu, Barriss Offee or Quinlan Vos, or it could be someone much darker. It may have even been the Grand Inquisitor who was a Jedi Temple guard but was turned to the dark side before Order 66, or maybe even Anakin himself. What reason was Grogu taken from the temple? We don't yet know. This is currently one of the biggest and most unsettling unanswered questions in Star Wars canon. Number 2. Obi-Wan Kenobi. This one needs no explanation. After the huge battle on Mustafar between Obi-Wan and his former apprentice Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan was present for the birth of his two children, Luke and Leia. Knowing that he needed to protect the New Hope for the galaxy, Obi-Wan went into exile on Tatooine to watch over Luke and ensure that light could be restored to the galaxy through him. Number 3. Master Yoda. Just like Obi-Wan, this one doesn't need too much explanation. After his failure to defeat Chancellor Palpatine in the Senate chamber, Master Yoda sent himself into exile on Dagobah to both go into hiding and to reflect on his failures. While on the swampy world, Master Yoda actually became the apprentice of Qui-Gon Jinn in order to learn how to guide his spirit into the cosmic force upon his death. This would ultimately give him the ability to appear as a Force ghost after his mortal end. Under the mentorship of Qui-Gon's spirit, Yoda was successful in this goal and transcended into the Force after his death on Dagobah. Number 4. The Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor was an extremely powerful Jedi Knight who actually served as a Jedi Temple guard during the Clone Wars. In fact, he was the one seen here escorting Barriss Offee to her trial for a horrible attack on the Jedi Temple. It was at this moment that the Grand Inquisitor witnessed Barriss's attempted framing of AHSOKA TANO and became disillusioned with the Jedi Order. He agreed with Barriss's hatred for the Jedi becoming soldiers, but was equally angry at how AHSOKA TANO almost faced the death penalty for a crime she didn't commit. The other thing that pushed him to the dark side was that he often attempted to visit the deepest levels of the Jedi archives. When he did this though, the librarian Jocastu Nu blocked him, deeming him unworthy. So in the weeks before Order 66, Darth Sidious noticed this anger and used it to turn him to the dark side. When Order 66 was delivered, the Grand Inquisitor actually helped Anakin in Operation Knightfall, helping to slaughter his fellow Temple guards. Number 5. FERREN BARR. FERREN BARR was an Iktochi member of the Jedi Order who managed to survive the events of Order 66 and pull together a small group of rebels. The very interesting thing about him, however, was that he was only a Jedi Padawan. Despite his young age and lack of experience, FERREN BARR's rebel activities on Mon Cala soon attracted the ire of Darth Vader and a squad of purge troopers intended to execute the young Jedi. Vader managed to shred through FERREN BARR's rebel disciples, but BARR himself used a Jedi mind trick to turn the clone purge troopers against the Inquisitors that they were with. Because most of the Inquisitors are former Jedi themselves, he was able to trick the purge troopers into executing Order 66 on them for a second time. In the process, the 10th brother was also killed. Finally, Padawan FERREN BARR faced Darth Vader and was swiftly defeated by his blade. Number 6. Coleman Kaj. Coleman Kaj was a Jedi Master who served on the High Council during the final months of the Clone Wars. Kaj was one of the very few Jedi to escape the complete chaos and carnage of Order 66, managing to hide himself from the Empire incredibly well. During Darth Vader's hunt for fellow Order 66 survivor Eeth Koth, Coleman Kaj's name appeared on a list of wanted Jedi, meaning that he is still yet to be found by the Empire. Number 7. Eeth Koth. Eeth Koth was a Jedi Master who sat on the High Council during the Separatist Crisis and after the outbreak of the Clone Wars. By the time the war came to an end, Eeth Koth was actually removed from the Jedi Council for unknown but ominous reasons, and because of this he left the Jedi Order as a whole. After leaving the Order, Eeth Koth changed his career slightly and became a priest in a different religious organization known as the Church of Gothic Enlightenment. During his time in the church, he eventually had a child with a woman named Mira. Literally moments after this child was born, however, Darth Vader and a group of Inquisitors arrived at Eeth Koth's secret home, threatening to kill them all. Eeth Koth then begged for his life and those of his wife and child, but Vader doesn't do compromises. The Inquisitors then captured Koth's child as she was Force sensitive in hopes of turning her into a future Inquisitor through Project Harvester. This distracted Eeth Koth, which sadly allowed Vader to impale him with his scorching red lightsaber. Number 8. KIRAK in Filler. KIRAK Infila was a Master Jedi who specialized in combat and lightsaber fighting throughout his time in the Order. Not long before Order 66 though, Master Infila left the Jedi Order and took a vow known as the Barriss Vow, which meant that he was not able to take part in any activities related to serving the Jedi. He was forced to disengage with anything except the Force itself. This Barriss Vow and him distancing himself from the Jedi Order by the time of Order 66 meant that he was able to escape execution by his clone troopers, because he didn't have any. Sadly though, he was soon hunted down and uncovered by Darth Vader on the river moon of Aldolim. Vader and Infila engaged in a ferocious battle, resulting in one of Vader's mechanical legs being broken off. KIRAK Infila then used this opportunity to blast Darth Vader off of a huge cliff that they were fighting on, believing that he had fallen to his death. After this, KIRAK Infila travelled to a nearby city known as Ambalar to retrieve his ship, which he had stored with a local mechanic many years ago. While doing this, he believed that Vader had been killed during their fight, so he wasn't concerned at all about luring the Dark Lord into the city. Unfortunately for him though, he unwittingly did just this. Arriving in the city, Darth Vader used the Force to obliterate all of the water tanks surrounding the city, flooding the whole area and forcing Infila to brutally watch. Once Vader had done this, he forced KIRAK Infila to watch the citizens of the city drown in front of him before force choking and then throwing his lifeless body into the water. An absolutely brutal and dark way to go. Number 9. TARON MALICOS. TARON MALICOS was a renowned Jedi Master who served as a general on the front lines of the Clone Wars. Once Order 66 arrived at the hands of Palpatine, Malicos was betrayed by his clones, but against all odds he managed to escape from them in his ship. His ship then crash-landed on the dreary red planet of Dathomir, home of Darth Maul. Once on the planet, he tricked a Night Sister named Merrin into teaching him the ways of the dark Night Sister magics, which slowly corrupted him and guided him to the dark side. He then became the leader of the Night Brothers clan on the planet after defeating their leader Viscus in a ceremonial battle, gaining the respect of the rest of the tribe members. Eventually, Malicos was able to bleed his lightsaber crystal red by channeling his anger into it before using them to fight fellow surviving Padawan Cal Kestis. After being defeated by Cal, Merrin buried Malicos under the ground using Night Sister magic, seemingly putting him to an end. Although, because this is Night Sister magic, he could still be alive in stasis, we don't really know. Number 10. Jocastu Nu. Jocastu Nu was a legendary Jedi Master and Chief Librarian of the Jedi Order. In contrast to many of her fellow Masters, Jocasta was able to evade death on that dark day of Order 66 and managed to escape Darth Vader's march on the Jedi Temple with the 501st. Not long after Order 66, she actually travelled back to the Jedi Temple in the darkness of night and tried to recover a Jedi holocron containing the names of the remaining Force sensitives in the galaxy. Unfortunately, she was very quickly captured by Darth Vader and he took the important holocron. In one final breath of life, Jocastu Nu closed her eyes and Vader slashed her in the chest with his glowing red blade. Vader also crushed the holocron with the names on it so that his Master Sidious could not replace him with a future Sith apprentice. Jocastu Nu is also one of the top candidates for the person who may have rescued Grogu from the Jedi Temple. Number 11. Oppo Rancisis. Oppo Rancisis was a Master of the Jedi Order who sat on the High Council during the time of the Clone Wars. During the horrific Battle of Seleucami, Oppo Rancisis served along Master Stas Ali, but unlike her, Rancisis was able to escape the brainwashed clone troopers of the 91st and go into hiding. The only thing we know about him other than that is that he was on a list put together by Vader and the Grand Inquisitor, denoting Jedi survivors that they wanted to kill next. Number 12. Luminara Unduli. Luminara Unduli was a Jedi Master who served at the Battle of Kashyyyk when Order 66 struck. Once the clone directive was given, Luminara was unexpectedly captured rather than killed. Mysteriously, she was taken to the galaxy's toughest prison complex known as the Spire on Stygian Prime, the same place that Maul was imprisoned after Darth Sidious defeated him on Mandalore. Once at the prison, the Empire used hologram footage taken of her to lure in other surviving Jedi who believed that she might still be alive. After taking this footage, the Empire coldly executed Luminara and stored her lifeless body inside of a cryo chamber in her cell. This hologram footage was later used to lure surviving Jedi Caleb Dume and Ezra Bridger into the clutches of the Grand Inquisitor in Star Wars Rebels. Number 13. Master Uvel. Absolutely nothing is known about Master Uvel apart from the fact that he was a Jedi General during the Clone Wars, but managed to slip away from his clone troopers during Order 66. After living in hiding for many years, Uvel began to collect a trove of ancient and modern Jedi artifacts before selling them to an antique dealer for safekeeping. His fate is currently unknown. Number 14. Quinlan Vos. In the dying days of the Clone Wars, Quinlan Vos was given a last-minute transfer to the war-torn world of Kashyyyk to serve alongside Master Yoda and Master Luminara. He was given the responsibility of helping Wookiee chieftain Tarful to prepare a strategy to rebel against the Separatists. Unfortunately, however, during the planning, Order 66 struck, throwing the entire galaxy into chaos. Quinlan Vos's escape on that day is currently unexplained, but Imperial officers and Darth Vader quickly put him on a list of priority kill targets for Jedi survivors. He later showed up in a vision to Darth Vader alongside Plo Koon and Shak Ti, who are confirmed to be dead, so this could spell the same fate for Quinlan Vos. Number 15, the Ninth Sister. The Ninth Sister, also known as Masana Tide, was a Jedi empath who used the Force to connect with others and tap into their emotions and help them to feel better. After surviving Order 66, however, she was brutally tortured and turned to the dark side before being recruited for Darth Vader's Inquisitor program. From there, she hunted her fellow Jedi survivors across the galaxy, including Cal Kestis. Number 16, Caleb Dume. Caleb Dume was a Jedi Padawan who served under Master Depa Billaba during the Clone Wars. When the tragedy of Order 66 struck, Caleb Dume was sitting at a campfire with his clone commander, Commander Grey, and his master when the chilling transmission from Chancellor Palpatine came through. At this moment, Commander Grey and Depa Billaba's other clones turned on her and Caleb Dume, and the Jedi Master heroically gave her life to save the young Caleb Dume, allowing him to go on the run. During his escape, he came into contact with the Bad Batch of clones, who had not executed Order 66 themselves, but was terrified of them and continued his escape. During his time in hiding, Caleb Dume took on the name Kanan Jarrus, before eventually meeting a young Twi'lek girl named Hera Syndulla on a remote mining world named Gorse. Soon after, he accepted Hera's offer to join her rebel cell. Kanan Jarrus eventually went on to train a young Force-sensitive boy from Lothal named Ezra Bridger. Number 17, Ahsoka Tano. Now, although Ahsoka was no longer a Jedi at the time of Order 66, she was targeted by the Purge, so she certainly is a survivor of it. After the successful capture of former Sith Lord Darth Maul following the Siege of Mandalore, Ahsoka managed to escape the betrayal of the 332nd Company. Fortunately, she was able to remove the inhibitor chip of Captain Rex, and the two escaped as their Republic cruiser crashed into an unknown icy moon, killing all of the members of the 332nd Company on board. Not long after, Ahsoka went on to start a small-scale resistance movement on the planet Rada under the false name Ashla, and was later recruited as a fulcrum agent to the Rebel Alliance. On this planet, she killed the Sixth Brother with her bare hands and stole his red kyber crystals before purifying them and turning them white. Number 18, Cal Kestis. Cal Kestis was a Jedi Padawan who served under Master Jaro Tapal and was taken along on most of his missions during the Clone Wars. When Order 66 was delivered by Palpatine, Cal managed to escape from his Venator-class Star Destroyer while his master gave his life to protect him from the incoming clone troopers. Cal managed to rush to the escape pods of the Venator and get to safety, but was eventually hunted down by the Inquisitors of the Empire. They found him because he used the Force to save his friend Prouf from certain death while working on the scrapyards of Bracca. He eventually joined up with fellow Order 66 survivor Sia Junda and became her new apprentice. Number 18, Sia Junda. Sia Junda was a renowned Jedi Knight who was the apprentice of the enigmatic and mysterious master Eno Cordova. Sia soon took her own apprentice named Trilla Siduri, but after leaving her alone in a dark cave to sacrifice herself during Order 66, Trilla was furious. Although Sia did this to protect her apprentice, Trilla eventually turned to the dark side and became an Inquisitor for Darth Vader. After finding Cal Kestis in the shadows of Order 66, she took him on as an apprentice to bring the light of the galaxy back. Number 19, Trilla Siduri. After being abandoned by her master, Trilla fell to the dark side and became the Inquisitor known as the Second Sister. She eventually tracked down and fought her former master along with Cal Kestis, but was killed by Darth Vader for failing to bring them to justice. Number 20, Unidentified Rodian Jedi Youngling. Absolutely nothing is known about this little guy, but he was a member of the Jedi Order and was left for dead by Sia Junda in that cave with Trilla Siduri during Order 66. Number 21, Proset Dibs. The 10th brother, or as he was formerly known, Proset Dibs, was a Jedi Master who served alongside Mace Windu during the Clone Wars. During a peacekeeping mission with Mace Windu on the planet Hisrik, Dibs grew disillusioned with the Jedi Order and became so angry with them that he turned on Mace Windu and tried to kill him. After being subdued and brought back to the Jedi Council for sentencing, he was about to receive the death penalty for attempting to assassinate a council member, but Mace Windu spared his life and asked Master Yoda to sentence him only to rehabilitation. This turned out to be a horrendous move, as soon after Order 66, Proset Dibs joined Darth Vader's Order of the Inquisitorius and helped to hunt down surviving Jedi. He was eventually killed when FERREN mind-tricked the clone Purge troopers into executing Order 66 for a second time. Number 22, Nuck Med. Nuck Med served as a Jedi Padawan during the time when Dooku was still with the Order, but chose to leave that life before the Clone Wars kicked off. On one quiet day, Nuck Med found out that a Great Purge of the Jedi Order had happened, and he initially believed the story that Palpatine told about the Jedi committing treason. Soon after, he was tracked down by the Grand Inquisitor, and after a ferocious fight, he actually managed to beat the Inquisitor, unlike so many of his fellow survivors. Finally, Nuck Med went on to live a life all the way through to 30 ABY at the time of the sequels, where he died in peace. Number 23, Zubain and Kenori. Not much is known about this Jedi, but Zubain and Kenori was a Zabrak Jedi Knight who found refuge from his clone troopers in an ancient Jedi shrine on the planet Anoat. He and 3 other Jedi managed to meet up and hide together, but he was soon tracked down and slaughtered in cold blood by an Inquisitor. Number 24, Masusiel. Masusior was another one of the members of Ankanori's group, but when the Inquisitor arrived at their hiding spot, she stayed behind and gave her life so that the others could escape. The Inquisitors brutally struck her down. Number 25, Nuge. Nuge was the third member of the group, and after initially escaping the Inquisitors, he too was struck down and killed by the Inquisitor. Number 26, Chandra. Chandra was the final Jedi Knight of this group, and she managed to survive the longest, but soon lost her entire sense of identity because of the incident. Sadly, she too was tracked down by this same Inquisitor and killed in cold blood. Number 27, 28 and 29, the 5th brother, the 6th brother and the 7th sister. Not much is known about their time in the Order, but we do know that they were still members of the Jedi at the time of Order 66, making them survivors of the Great Purge. The 6th brother was killed by AHSOKA on Rada after she was discovered there in hiding, and the other two went on to hunt Ezra Bridger, Kanan Jarrus and AHSOKA Tano until their eventual deaths on the Sith world of Malachor. Number 30, Kira Vantala. Kira Vantala was a female Jedi Knight who survived the Great Purge and travelled to an orphanage on the planet Gaten during the time of the Empire after hearing rumours of a mysterious being kidnapping Force-sensitive children from around the galaxy. One night, she caught the mysterious being, revealed to be the Grand Inquisitor, in the process of stealing these children, but was able to defeat him, saving the lives of the many kids in the orphanage and ensuring that he would never return. Number 31 and 32, Selrak Elios and Karmoon Koli. These two were on the list of Jedi that were being hunted by Vader and the Inquisitors after Ethkoth's death. Other than that, nothing is known about them, and they may never feature again since they are just references to the authors who wrote them. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is an update of the 2021 version, and I think it's going to get outdated pretty soon. So we'll make another version when we have to, but for now, this is the most up-to-date list containing all of the Jedi that survived Order 66. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Please leave a like if you made it this far, and make sure you subscribe.